Good morning, my friends. Okay, this time we are going to talk about again the 7B unit, and our topic is travel far enough. As you remember, we have read some part of this text and we answered these questions. This time, as you see, here are some headings and here are the paragraphs. I want you to match the paragraphs with the headings. Okay. First of all, let's listen it.
I went to Beijing 4 years ago, but couldn't visit the Great Wall. I always wanted to see it, but our tour guide didn't take us there because it was winter. Luckily, I visited the Great Wall of China as part of my Asia tour last June. I booked a private tour.
Okay, let's check it. So what's the most suitable heading for these paragraphs? I went to Beijing 4 years ago, but I couldn't visit the Great Wall. I always wanted to see, but our tour guide didn't take us there because it was winter. So enjoy the view and the history. Rest at tea house. Get ready for the trip. Learn the history. Choose the perfect time. What's the most suitable heading for this? Let's check. Yes, choose the perfect time, of course. Now, let's listen the second part of the paragraph.
I went to Beijing, always wanted. Luckily, I visited the Great Wall of China as part of my Asia tour last June. I booked a private tour and had a wonderful experience because the tour guide was nice and friendly. He also spoke English well. He picked me up from the hotel at 6 a.m. as I wanted to avoid the tourist traffic. It took us 2 hours to get to Miluxianyu. I was surprised to feel the fresh air after the pollution and the crowds of Beijing.
Good. So let's look again. I booked a private tour. You know what's private? Yes, it's not public, so you pay for it. It's private, and I had a wonderful experience because the tour guide was nice and friendly. So it was a good tour guide, I think. Huh? He also spoke English very well. He picked me up from the hotel. He took me from the hotel, so we can say, at 6 a.m. as I wanted to avoid the tourist traffic. It took us 2 hours to get to Matinyu. I was surprised to feel the fresh air after the pollution and crowds of Beijing. You know, Beijing is a very crowded city. It's the capital of China, and it's one of the most crowded cities. So a lot of people there. So if there's a lot of people, it means that there's pollution because there are factories and other things. Okay, so let's check the headings. Choose the perfect time with it. Enjoy view and history. Rest for a tea house. Get ready for the trip. Learn the history. Which one is suitable for you? Yes, your answer? Yes, get ready for the trip. Great. Now let's listen to the third paragraph.
There were different ways to get to the wall. I preferred the cable car and bought a ticket for it. When I got to the top, I was amazed to see the great view of the forests, valley and the river. We went right because the staircases were more difficult to climb on the left. It was summertime and I could take the photos of flowers and trees in various colors from the top. The watchtowers themselves were quite impressive. I listened to my guide carefully, and when I looked out of the watchtower windows, I could imagine the history. I read on the history of the Great Wall before I visited there, and it made my journey more meaningful. The Chinese protected their country from enemy attacks with this wall. People call it the longest cemetery because a lot of workers died during the
Okay. There were different ways to get to the wall. I preferred the cable car. You know, cable car? So there's a cable and it takes you from one place to another one. So, for example, there's a cable car in Uludağ. It's one of the most famous ones in Turkey. So, especially it's used for hills. Okay, and bought a ticket for it. When I got to the top, I was amazed to see great view of forests. You know, forest, there are a lot of trees. It's forest, valley, and the river. We went right because the staircases were more difficult to climb on the left. It was summertime and I could take photos of flowers and trees in various colors from the top. The watchtowers, you know, watchtowers. So the watchtower is that in the ancient times, soldiers were watching the enemies from the watchtowers. So on the watchtower, you can see everywhere clearly, especially the neighborhood clearly. Themselves, we were quite impressive. Themselves were quite impressive. I listened to my guide carefully. When I looked out of the watchtower's window, I could imagine the history. So, what's the most suitable heading for this? Learn history, rest tea house, enjoy the view and the history. What's your idea? Yes, you're right. Enjoy the view and history. Now, let's listen to the last paragraph.
There were different ways to. I could take the photos of flowers and trees in various colors from the top. The watchtowers themselves were quite impressive. I listened to my guide carefully, and when I looked out of the watchtower windows, I could imagine the history. I read on the history of the Great Wall before I visited there, and it made my journey more meaningful. The Chinese protected their country from enemy attacks with this wall. People call it the longest cemetery because a lot of workers died during the construction. At the end of the day, I was dead tired, but I enjoyed every minute of my trip. Put the Great Wall on your list of places to visit.
Yes. Oh, yes. We did this, we did this. Yes. So, what's rest? I read the history of Great Wall before I visited there, and it made my journey more meaningful. The Chinese protected their country from enemy attacks with this wall. People call it the longest cemetery. You know what cemetery? Cemetery is the place where you bury, where you put that people. For example, think about your grandparents. They're in the cemetery because they are dead. So it's called cemetery. That people stay there at the cemetery because a lot of workers died during the construction. Look, it's called the longest cemetery. In fact, it's not a cemetery, but it's called the longest cemetery because a lot of workers died during the construction. At the end of the day, I was that tired, so it means that I was very, very, very tired. But I enjoyed every minute of my trip. Put the Great Wall on your list of places to visit. So what's it? Rest at a tea house or learn the history? Yes? Look, it says here. So you learn the history. Very good. Okay. Now, I think you don't need to listen it one more time. You can complete the questions and answers. Why couldn't Martin visit the Great Wall 4 years ago? Let's check it. Like, I went to Beijing 4 years ago, but I couldn't visit. our tour guide didn't take us there because it was winter. Ah, good. So why couldn't Martin visit the Great Wall 4 years ago? Because it was winter. Now, complete this question. The answer is last June, and the question word is when. So when is asking the part of the time, a special day, year, season. So when? The answer is last June. Let's check it. Last June. Look, I visited the Great Wall of China as a part of my Asia tour last June. I visited. So what can we ask? When? Yes. Look, it's past tense. What do we use in past tense for questions? You're right, we use did. So when did he go to China for the second time? Look, as it's past tense, we use did and we use verb 1, the bare form of the verb. How was Beijing from Matinyu? Let's check it. Beijing. Look. Matinyu is here. It took us 2 hours to get to the Matinyu. I was surprised to feel the fresh air after the pollution and crowds of Beijing. So we can say that Beijing was very crowded and it was polluted. So the question is, how was Beijing different from Matinyu? So we can say it was more crowded and polluted. You know, polluted when you drop things into the water, into the ground, so it's polluted. Think about big cities like Ankara, Istanbul, Konya. They are polluted, especially they have air pollution because a lot of people live there and there are lots of factories. So we have a sentence. He took photos and enjoyed the view. So what's it? What's the question? Let's check it. Okay, where is the view? Flowers, trees, colors from the top, the watchtowers. Look, I was amazed to see the great view of forest. Flowers in various colors, the watchtowers. I listened to my teacher and looked out of the watchtowers. I could imagine this history. So, he took photos and enjoyed the view. So, what can be the question? Yes. What? So it's past tense. What do we use in past tense? Did. Let's check it. What did he do? Look, we use did for past questions and bare form, verb 1. Bare form of the verb. Okay. To protect the country. What did they do to protect the country? Let's see it. Chinese protect the country from enemy attacks with this wall. So this is the reason for building this wall. So if there is a reason, we ask why. So it shows the reason. Why did the Chinese build the wall? Why do people call it the longest cemetery? I think I gave you the answer of this question. Because, why? Because lots of workers died in this building. He felt that tired but happy. So how? So we are asking about the feeling. How? Yes, in past tense, what do we use for questions? Yes, look, in past tense we use did. How did, and then the subject, he, be form of the verb, feel. How did he feel? You see? At the end of the day. Great. Now, match the highlighted words in the block with the closest meanings. I booked. What's the meaning of book? Just making a reservation. I preferred. So it's my choice. And I bought. Look, it's the past form of buy. You know, buy. Give money and take something. Pick me up from the hotel. So I told you it's take. So you take someone from somewhere. Especially your parents. Sometimes pick you up from school. When I got to the top, I was amazed. When I reached the top, I was protect, secure. So, match the highlighted words with the closed meanings. Arrive at a place, arrive, got, and had something by paying money. I told you, had something by paying money. Yes, bought, made a reservation, booked, and protect, kept themselves from safe others, and pick up, went somewhere to collect somebody in a car, and liked something, prefer. Yes, you're right. Okay, reorder the events in the cartoon story according to Martin's trip of China, the Great Wall of China. Which picture is the first picture? Yes? Yes, this picture is the first. And which one is the second? What did he do next? Yes. First, he wanted to go to the sea wall. He wanted to go see the wall. He booked private tour. Third, yes, he met the tour guide. And then, what did he do next? He went to the top with the cable car. Look, this is the cable car. It's not a real car, but it's called cable car. You see the cables? It takes you to top of the hills. And the last one is, yes, and he took photos there. Okay, now I want you to answer these questions according to yourself. Where did you go? When did you go? And others. Okay. So, my friends, see you next week. Take care.